I'm going to all 4 parks to ride the most loved and hated rides in Disney World. Hey there, Man Fam, and welcome to another 4-Park Disney World challenge. In the past in this series, we've done things like the oldest versus the newest ride, the most overrated versus the most underrated, and today we are doing the most loved and most hated ride in each of the 4 parks as voted on by thousands of diehard Disney fans. Hey Man Fam, that's you. We set a poll out on Patreon to ask you what ride do you love the most in each park and which do you hate? I think some of the answers may surprise you, so join me as we go to all 4 parks today and hit all 8 of these rides. We're starting in my favorite Animal Kingdom, so let's go. All right, we're gonna start with hate. And not just because it's looking a little overcast and I'm worried about the outdoor rides closing, but also because you know when people are like, you want the good news or the bad news first? You gotta go bad news first, so that way you get to end on the good news. So we're gonna start with the ride that you chose as the most hated ride in Animal Kingdom. Now I will say there was on the poll an option to click I don't love or hate any rides in this park, because maybe you don't feel passionately about anything. And slightly over 40% of you said you don't hate any rides at Animal Kingdom, which I respect that. Hate's a strong word, but that means 60% of you do hate a ride here, and I'm not gonna lie, I do agree with this choice. Let's talk about the podium. In third place, the third most hated ride with just over 6%, Dinosaur, which, yes, I am personally offended by that. But you know what? I also get it. It's loud, it's dark, it hurts people's backs sometimes. Dinosaur can be a little polarizing. I understand it's not for everybody. In second place, just over 8% said they hate Navi River Journey, which I can get not liking that attraction. It usually has quite a long line. And while the Shaman of Song is incredibly impressive, if you waited in a long line to ride that attraction, it's not super exciting. I think hate's a bit of a strong word on that one, honestly. But you know, some of you may have had Navi River Journey related traumatic experiences, and I don't want to take away from that. But by a landslide, the number 1 most hated ride in this park, with 38.9% of the vote, Cali River Rapids. And I get it. Cali River Rapids has a 38-inch height requirement, and it is a round water raft ride. And it's going to take you on a river as you weave through Asia, gaze beautifully, I must admit, over Expedition Everest, Legend of Forbidden Mountain, and then down a small hill, all in which you could get absolutely soaking wet. And there's no way to tell. There's no like, oh, I'll sit in the back, because it's a circle. You have no idea whomst the Cali gods are gonna punish on your little slide down into the rapids. It's usually me, probably because I'm always talking smack about this ride and the Cali gods hear me. So I should say, I love your ride, Cali gods. It's the best one here. Do you think they bought that? Anyway, let's gear up for Cali River Rapids and see if this truly is worth the title of most hated ride in Animal Kingdom. But we all know I'm not quite ready to do that yet. Let's go to my favorite ride. It's the best one. All right, here we go. Also, I should tell y'all, it's not very busy at the parks today. It's like a mid-September day. 10-minute wait right now. There's a 30-minute wait of Flight of Passage right now, so that's pretty sweet. I will say, credit where credit's due. The queue is beautiful and detailed and spectacular because it's Animal Kingdom, so you gotta shout that out. And a fun fact about this ride, let's do a fun fact about each ride. A fun fact about this ride is that it was Michael Jackson's favorite ride. Michael Jackson was a big fan of the Disney parks, and this was his favorite ride, Judgment. And it was so much his favorite ride that the Imagineers put him in it. And if you look in the queue, you could actually see him in a painting on the ride. You're my favorite. Don't forget. Please turn, please turn, please turn, please turn, please turn, please turn. Oh God, oh my God. I'm gonna be in this meeting. Maybe it's not gonna be. That's what color my skirt is. There's my skirt that didn't make it in the rain jacket. I'm upset. The Cali God did not believe me, and in fact, seems like is pissed I was lying. Because I got more wet just now than I have on this ride in recent memory. And I was called as a single party to fill in on a raft that was at the wheelchair load. I've never been at the wheelchair load before. And they use an extra spray of water at the end to get you in the right spot to unload it. Cool. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Now, Molly's patented water outfit did work for my head. I think my hair's probably still dry, but my bag, she's not dry. I don't know if it's hard to tell, but she's wet. She's waterproof, Stony Clover, that's where I get my bags. But she's wet. And again, the rain jacket worked where there was such a thing, but my legs soaking. I think my butt is about to be so wet. Nightmare. But the question is, after each of these rides, does that deserve to be the most hated ride in the park? Yeah. It does. They added more water. There's spritzes in the cave I've never seen before. Listen, I hate getting wet, so I am obviously biased. And generally speaking, I think rides still serve a purpose. Like, I don't hate a lot of rides because I think even if it's a ride not for me, it serves a purpose. I do hate this ride. Personally, I think it is too short, and I think there's not enough thrill for how wet you could get. On like a wet to fun meter, it's like Tiana's is really fun and you could get wet, but you might not get wet, so it's like high. So it like achieves that. Like Jurassic Park rides achieve a net positive on the wet to fun meter. Cali River Rapids, to me, you could get so wet and it's not, in my opinion, that fun. There's no big drop. It's more of like a little scoot down a ramp. So for me, this is my least favorite ride in Walt Disney World. That said, if you love it, if you like getting wet, if you enjoyed the view of Everest, which I have to agree is stunning, I'm not here to fault you, but I will say we're about to go do the most loved ride in Animal Kingdom next. Not one single person said this ride. So just say it. As we make our way to our most loved attraction, I just, as always, have to marvel at the beauty of this park. It's just so stunning, and this park, I feel like more than any other, just has these incredible views and corners tucked away where you could have a quiet moment of luxuriation. This is the path between Africa and Asia, and a lot of people, as you can see, are walking on the main path, which is stunning and takes you right by the Tree of Life. But there's this like subtle, small side path. Look at, no one else is on here. There's picnic tables back here. This would be a great place if you got some Mr. Kamal's dumplings or fries and just came back here. Like, this is beautiful. You're also not very far from the Dawa bar if you wanted to get a cocktail, or Temu Temu refreshments if you wanted a Dole Whip. And look at this. Look at this. It's my own little private oasis right now. God, I love this park so much. And speaking of love, let's talk about the most loved rides at Animal Kingdom. Now, we already know no one said Cali River Rapids, which I appreciate. The top 3 most loved attractions in this park honestly surprised me. I don't think number 1 surprised me, but the order surprised me, because in 3rd place at just under 15%, Flight of Passage. In 2nd place at almost 29%, Expedition Everest. And it's probably not surprising that winning by a landslide with 48.3%, Kilimanjaro Safaris. And it definitely doesn't surprise me that Kilimanjaro Safaris is the most loved ride in this park. I mean, it's the only ride in Walt Disney World that's completely different every time you ride it. And what's not to love about looking at real animals like elephants and lions and zebras and giraffes and rhinos? And if you're lucky, there could be baby versions of those animals, which is even better. But I am surprised that Flight of Passage is 3rd, with Everest in 2. And I agree with that. I prefer Expedition Everest over Flight of Passage because I'm more of a practical sets girly than a simulator girly. But I really thought Flight of Passage would take the 2nd spot and Everest would be number 3. So I'm surprised by that. Let me know if you are, or how you'd rank them down in the comments. For me, Dinosaur would be on the list, not Flight of Passage. But enough about the losers. let's talk about the winner, Kilimanjaro Safaris, which is the flagship attraction here in this park. It's about a 25-minute, although it could be longer depending on how the animals are behaving, safari where you're going to head out to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve and actually see live animals. Great times to ride this attraction are first thing in the morning as well as later in the afternoon, just because if it's a little bit cooler out, the animals tend to be a little bit more active. Additionally, if it's spitzing or it's just rained, sometimes you can get some good animal action that way. But truly, there's no bad time to go on a safari. Also, I said I'd give you a fun fact about each ride. This ride is so big, it's the biggest ride in all of Walt Disney World, and it is so big that all of Magic Kingdom could fit on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve.
For now, though, we are going to go ahead and start off our journey. To your left, quick. Up at the top of the hill, that's a saddle build store.
¿A dónde? Ay, sí, mira.
It helps with their blood circulation and will actually help to keep them cooler in the hot weather. Zebra is the only species of zebra to have it. So it looks like we're going to get to see these giraffes again right here. Now, because of that, the farmers felt that they're the greater flamingo, which is the lightest color of pink flamingo in the world. Now, oftentimes when you see lions, they are asleep, and that's because they sleep anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a week.
Also, look at this queen. Look at her.
Now, that's that one we just saw climb up the rock out there.
Yeah, she's the queen. What a great safari. It did start spitzing a little bit, but because of that, I had the best lion action I think I've ever seen. Plus, great cheetah action, an elephant really close, lots of giraffes, including a baby giraffe, a bebe. How can you not love that? So I fully am on board. That is absolutely my most loved attraction here as well. So we did 2, and now we are off to a different kingdom. See you there. All right, from animal to magic, we have made it into park number 2, the original here in Walt Disney World. We, of course, have 2 rides to check off. And there's a lot of rides here, obviously. Magic Kingdom has the most rides of any of the Walt Disney World parks, so there was a lot more discrepancy and a lot more variation in the answers here. But still, even with over 20 rides to choose from, 20% said they don't hate any rides here at the Magic Kingdom. And I think that's nice. I don't think I do either. I'll get into the bottom ones in my thoughts. But I don't think I actually hate any rides here. But there was a wide variety of answers. I'm pleased to say, however, that not a single person said they hate Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, or the People Mover the most. So that's how, I know you're my people, because those are obviously all bangers. But let's get to the official podium. In third place, at 9.3%, the third most hated ride in this park, Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Which I get it. I think hate's a strong word there. It's kind of inoffensive, in my opinion. I don't think it's anyone's favorite ride. In fact, I know it's not based on this survey. But, it does a good job of being another spinner ride for your little ones. And, we need attractions like that, too, that little ones can go on without a long wait, while other people in the party do things like Tiana's and Big Thunder nearby. Number 2 most hated ride, with a 10.5%, a classic, an icon, the Mad Tea Party. I get it. I get hating the teacups. They can make you incredibly nauseous. People don't like spinning and getting dizzy. So I get if you hate the teacups. I don't personally hate the teacups. Again, hate is a strong word that I reserve for things like Cali River Rapids. I also don't really spin it when I ride it, so I just go around, and I have a lot of nostalgia for the teacups, but I do understand if it makes you nauseous, why you might hate that ride. And we actually have a 2-way tie for the top spot here, down to the exact same number of votes. And they're both here in Tomorrowland, with exactly 16.4% of the vote. The number 1 most hated rides in this park, Astro Orbiter and the Tomorrowland Speedway. So what do we do when there's a tie? I'm the tiebreaker, and I'm going with the Speedway. Astro Orbiter, at the very least, looks cool at night and adds a fun aesthetic to Tomorrowland. I get that it is another spinner ride in this park that already has Dumbo and Magic Carpets, but I do think it's the most thrilling of the spinners. I think you get a cool view up there. The thing I don't like about it is how long it takes to get there. The elevator up and down is a huge time suck, so I don't really recommend Astro Orbiter as like a must-do because it doesn't have lightning lane. It's, again, a time suck. It's just not a must-do for most people. The Speedway, on the other hand, I do get that kids like it. Kids don't drive cars, so this is really fun for them. I've said it before, but my nieces and nephews loved this ride. I feel neutral to negative about this ride, but the negativity comes from the fact that, one, they need to be electric vehicles. The fumes and the gas, I don't know how these cast members don't get headaches every day, so I wish they would convert it to electric vehicles. And two, why is it not a Wreck-It Ralph ride yet? Why is this not Sugar Rush? Retheme the cars, make them electric, put some Sugar Rush theming out there. That's a great ride. And that goes from me feeling neutral to negative about it to feeling positive about it. And kids still get to drive the cars. So I'm saying Tomorrowland Speedway, but I don't know that I really hate this one either. But we gotta drive it, which I do hate driving. But, you know, we gotta drive. To drive the Speedway cars, you must be 32 inches tall. To drive alone, you must be 54 inches tall. There's a chance if you're only 32 inches, you're not reaching the pedals, but you can steer and have mom or dad push the pedal for you. A fun fact about the Speedway is that you go a whopping 7.5 miles an hour. Another fun fact is that if you sing, it'll help your steering. Just kidding, nothing will help your steering on these cars, but singing does make it more fun. This ain't Texas, ain't no hold 'em. So lay our cards down, 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 down. Life is a highway, I wanna ride it all night long. Do you need a break from modern living? Do you long to share that weary load? All in all, I'd rather have attention. All in all, I'd rather eat a toad. All right, most hated ride done. Oh, look at these cuties. They have little umbrellas. All right, most hated ride check. And now it's time to do the most loved ride in the park. And I think there's a few obvious contenders for the top spot. There's a lot of classics, a lot of nostalgia in this park. But who is it? Whomst is it? Let's start with who it's not. Space Mountain, the People Mover, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train all got significant amounts of votes, but none of them made the platform. Coming in at third place with 11% of the votes, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. You know what? I get it. It's a classic. It's fun. It's a great family coaster. It's the wildest ride in the wilderness. What's not to love? Number 2, coming in the silver spot, Pirates of the Caribbean with 17.4%. Now, this is my personal favorite ride in the park, my most loved ride in the park. And it's a classic. It's nostalgic. It is beloved. It is, well, the Disneyland version is what Imagineer Marty Sklar called the gold standard that they would compare every ride against for the rest of time. But if Pirates is number 2, I bet you already know who number 1 is, with just under 37% of the vote, which is actually a pretty big swing considering how many rides are in this park. It's Haunted Mansion. And you know what? A great choice. Also, one of my most loved. Haunted Mansion, an opening day attraction, and I do think it probably has the biggest cult following of any Disney ride around the world. Just like Pirates of the Caribbean, it's a family ride that anybody can enjoy, but it's got a little bit of thrill and it's catered towards everybody. It also has a classic style of moving you through the attraction with that Omni Mover Doom Buggy. Also, much like Pirates, I feel like this is Imagineering genius, where a lot of times the effects are super simple, but they've been working for over 60 years at this point, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, obviously we gotta go see the 999 Happy Haunts and see if we're gonna be 1,000 today. But before we do, I'm coming in this way to show you our fun fact. I could do a whole video on just fun facts about this ride. Let me know if you'd like that. I've got a bunch of secrets videos with lots of stuff from lots of rides across all the parks, but so check those out if you like these fun facts. But if you want to mention one, I could do one just on this ride because there's so much lore, so much detail. But one of my favorites, if you look at the top of the mansion, there are these ornate figures. Those are actually chess pieces. You can see the king and queen, the bishop, the pawns, the rook. You can see everybody up here except for the knight. And the reason there are chess pieces on the Haunted Mansion, there's a couple different versions of the story, but ultimately it comes down to the fact that one of the lead Imagineers here, Mark Davis, huge chess aficionado. It's also why there's a chess Easter egg in the Pirates of the Caribbean queue. And so the story is that either he put them on top of the model of the mansion or the other Imagineers did to kind of mess with him. But regardless, he took off the knight. And when the other Imagineers asked him, Mark, why'd you forget the knight? He said, it's always night at the Haunted Mansion.
Imagination. And consider this dismaying observation.
Wrap on a table. It's time to respond.
Yep, that's a banger. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I put a poll up if this was the most loved attraction in all 4 parks. So actually, if you could, let's test that out. Share down in the comments what your favorite ride is in all of Walt Disney World. Your most loved and most hated ride in all of Walt Disney World. Let's see if I'm right. And then kind of peruse the other comments and let's see if any trends happen. But I would bet that this would be the most loved ride in Disney World, period. But now, we're done with castles and we're trading them for a geodesic sphere. See you there. Greetings from the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, where, of course, we've got 2 rides, and lucky for me, they're right next to each other. But you'll see why it's unlucky for me in a moment. Now we're gonna start with the hate again, and a quarter of you said you don't hate any rides here at this park. And then our top 3 have a huge discrepancy in the percentages. At number 3, with only 3.5% of the vote, Test Track. Which I get, because I used to not like Test Track either, but I do like the new version quite a bit. But still, I understand it getting votes, especially if you haven't been on the new version, because it often has quite a long line. And version 2 isn't as good as version 1, so people sometimes lash out in nostalgic reasons. Number 2 most hated, with a big jump to 19.6%, Journey into Imagination with Figment. You know, if you're not a Figment fan, I could see that as well. I'm personally not a big Figment fan, but I do appreciate that ride for the nostalgia factor for the previous version of the ride, which is what I think people that like that ride enjoy. They harken back to the Dreamfinder and are just clinging on to what remains. Hopefully at some point though, Figment will get an upgrade. I think we can all agree Journey into Imagination with Figment needs a new life. With that said, I'm headed to number 1 most hated with 38.9%. I bet you know where I'm going. It's Mission Space. Mission Space is a flight simulator that puts you into astronaut training school, and you are either headed around the Earth or to Mars, depending on which version you choose. Originally, there was only the orange side, which is the Mars mission, but it was so intense and they had so many people throwing up every single day that they had to offer a secondary version, the green mission, the Earth mission, which is a lot less intense. The orange mission has a 44-inch height requirement, the green mission has a 40-inch height requirement, and the main difference is the way this works is you're going to be getting in your cockpit and it's kind of like a round centrifuge and they're going to spin you like this to simulate the G-forces if you're on the orange side. They're not going to do that on the green side, but you are still going to be in a very tight enclosed space with a screen in front of you as they rock you different directions and you push buttons because you are going to space. Personally, I don't hate this ride because I have to appreciate the technology of it. I've said it probably every time I've ever ridden it, but they worked with NASA to build this, and the astronauts that have done this ride and also gone to space have said this is the closest thing they've ever felt to going to space is actually going to space. So I appreciate it for the technology. It's a very impressive attraction. It's also one that makes me incredibly nauseous, so I do get hating it for that reason. And also for that reason, because many people wrote in Mission Space orange, like they made sure to highlight that they were talking about the orange side is the ire of their hatred. I feel as though I must do orange right now.
You have been selected to train for a mission to Mars. Teams are awaiting your arrival at the landing site here at Dallas Marineris.
Network control.
God bless you, or go for launch. We have main engine start. 5, 4, 3. Going to Mars, baby. 16,000. You should have visual of the space station now, and you are on course for your slingshot around the moon. Rise and shine. Let's go, team. We've got a problem. Beginning evasive. This meteor storm is directly over. Ease it left. They're coming in too hot. Back to center. Just hold it steady. Runway ends in 1,000 feet. Good work, team. You made it to the landing site. Welcome to Mars.
Yep, that is nauseating. It's cool. I have fond memories on it with some of my family members. And, you know, I appreciate the tech, but it does make me nauseous. I realized in my trepidation of riding such a ride, I didn't share a fun fact. And my fun fact is that the Mars, the red shiny color that the big planets colored on the outside, that is an exclusive paint color. Disney could not find the color they were looking for, and it is several $100s a gallon to get that paint. So if you wanted to paint your house that color, well, it's proprietary, and also that's a lot of money for paint. Now, when I said the two rides at Epcot were right next to each other, that obviously means there are only two choices for our most loved ride in the park. I bet you can guess this one, but let's talk about who made the podium. And honestly, pretty surprising numbers right here. In third place with 10.6%, Soarin'. I assume that was all moms that voted for that because that is everyone's mom's favorite ride. And I love Soarin', but I honestly thought Soarin' would be number 2, not number 3. Number 2 with 11.8%. Big surprise for me, Living with the Land. I thought Test Track or Frozen Ever After or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure would be on the podium, but no, they were all beaten by plants. So I guess the Man Fam has spoken on that one. And you know what? It's a great classic ride. Now, it's not, maybe if you've never been to Disney before, the one I'm going to tell you to go on first or prioritize, but it's a wonderful filler ride and it's absolutely beautiful. And hey, who doesn't love truly living with the land and hearing that bang and pan flute at the end? But that means, I'm sure you're not surprised at all, number 1 with a huge majority, 57.4% of the vote, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is the newest ride here at Epcot, if you don't count the refurb over at Test Track. And it is a first-of-its-kind Omni coaster. You are going to board a starship to help the Guardians of the Galaxy, all your favorites, Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Drax, and Groot, as they try to save the galaxy once again. It has a 42.42-inch height requirement, and one of the fun things about this ride is you never know what song you're going to get. There are 6 different songs that could play, and everybody has their favorite, and everybody roots for their track to play when they're on the coaster. This truly is an incredible ride. It is so much fun. I have a blast every time I do it. It does make some people motion sick, which I understand. However, I've been told by some that get motion sick if you sit in the front row and kind of keep your eyes on the track, that can help. I personally don't get motion sick on this one because it doesn't spin like the teacups. It just can rotate and pivot you to look at the different show scenes as you blast through space. So for the second time today, let's go to Spas. And a fun fact about Guardians is that when you hear the Milano pull up against the Eon on the ride, they're playing a song, and it's a rock and roll version of the Universe of Energy song because this attraction replaced that one. Well, technically it replaced Ellen's Energy Adventure, which replaced Universe of Energy, different version of the same ride. I had to actually myself there.
If we cannot stop this unusually large man, then you're likely doomed.
Good luck! You're gonna need it.
It was useless to follow me. What is that noise?
No one's gonna stop rock and roll from existing. welcome to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
We have no room in our ship.
That ride really does go so hard. It is so much fun. I agree. I love this ride. I think it is also my most loved ride in the park. The other ones I would possibly say for me personally, Soarin', I have a lot of memories. It's my mom's favorite ride, so I do love Soarin' as well, but this is such a banger, such a great addition to this park. It needed another big thrill ride. Chef's kiss, and now we've only got one more stop. And once more, we find ourselves in a new setting, our fourth and final park of the day, Disney's Hollywood Studios, where I often talk about how there's not a lot of rides, but they're pretty much all bangers. So that makes it difficult to choose in both categories. Is there anything to hate here? And also, out of incredible rides like Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, Toy Story Mania, and more, who do you love the most? Because just to be clear, if it wasn't obvious already, this is only rides. This challenge is not shows, it's not restaurants, it's not characters. So while if you had told me you hate Awesome Planet because it makes you sad to be a human, I would understand, but also it wouldn't count for this. We're once again starting with the bottom, with the hatred, so we can end on a high note. Now, 45% of voters said they don't hate any rides here, which is understandable. And then it's not as huge of a split as you might expect for the other rides, though there is still a clear winner. In third place, with 7.2% of the vote, the most hated ride at this park is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. And I can understand that. Maybe you've only ever been the engineer. I get it. Also, maybe you got motion sick. It's certainly not my favorite ride by a long shot, but I definitely don't hate it. I think the set piece is very cool. I think walking into the queue is amazing. It really feels like you are in the movie. And if you're a Star Wars fan, piloting the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy is pretty amazing. Plus, the best times I've ever had on that ride are when I know everybody in the cockpit and everybody's laughing and having a good time. But again, I understand if people don't like it because that ride has a lot of variability based on the group with you and what position you get. Number 2 most hated, with 11.1% of the vote, Alien Swirling Saucers, which honestly I think is underrated because, yeah, it's a silly, spinner ride like Tow Mater's Junkyard Jamboree and Disney California Adventure. It's probably not worth more than like a 20 or so minute wait, but I always laugh and smile when I'm on the ride. I guess it could make you dizzy, but I think generally it's probably up here because there's just pretty much all bangers at this park, and maybe you waited a long time to ride that ride for it to be underwhelming. Actually, but now that I think about it, there is one good reason to hate that ride, and that's if you get When Somebody Loved Me as your soundtrack, because they play like a techno-y, like version of all the different Toy Story songs, and including When Somebody Loved Me. So maybe you hate it because you got really sad hearing that song. Or you also hate Jessie. But no, for the third time in a row, the most hated ride, according to you, is a space-themed one. With Star Tours, the adventures continue. This is a 3D simulator that's gonna blast you off to the galaxy far, far away. And what's cool on this ride is that there are over 50 different experiences you could have. They have different beginnings, middles, and ends, which means you might see different characters and go to different planets every single time you ride it, which I do give it credit for. But I'm guessing the reason people hate this ride is because it makes them very, very motion sick. I'm not an exception to that. This ride also makes me really motion sick. Something about, as Alan would describe it, it's kind of like being put in a shoebox and shaken, and it's in 3D. So this is one that I think honestly makes me more sick than Mission Space. Let's go. And a fun fact about Star Tours, if you listen closely to the droid before you get your 3D glasses, he may sound familiar if you've ridden Soarin' or seen The Emperor's New Groove.
Enjoy the peace and quiet with the other 39 packs.
Magic Warbird.
You know I can't fly this thing. No, neither can you. We need a fellow.
Hold it right there, Captain.
I'm not actually the captain.
We're looking for this rebel spy. Have you seen
Hardface! I always wanted to do this.
on your ship? One loyal to our cause you carry.
The spy. Look how to apply
Flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.
All right, I do kind of hate that ride a little bit. It makes me nauseous. Like, I feel very motion sick right now. And that wasn't even one of the roughest, like, paths we could do. That was, it was Yoda and pod racing, and I think that was Coruscant at the end, but a Star Wars person would know before me. I appreciate that ride from the sense that, like, it usually doesn't have a long line. It's a really good filler ride if it doesn't make you nauseous, and especially if you like Star Wars, because it changes every time you ride it. There's so many different versions of it, so it's a good ride to do multiple times, possibly. You know, I get it. If it makes you motion sick, I fully get it and support this being your most hated ride here. But by no means do I think this is a bad ride. All right, so now the big question. What ride do you love the most of all of these bangers in Hollywood Studios? And honestly, this is the tightest race of all. First of all, 1.7% of you said you don't love any rides here. Are you okay? Not even Toy Story Mania, which actually came in 5th with 7.8%. On the platform, however, in 3rd place with 11.6%, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And then our top 2 are within 3% of each other, both snatching up about 1/3 of the total votes. In 2nd place, with 31.4% of the vote, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Which means, with 34% of the vote, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is the most loved ride in the park. Honestly, I can get on board with both of those. I could honestly get on board with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway as well. Like we said, this park is pretty much all bangers. But Tower of Terror makes sense to me. I think if you're more of a nostalgic, like, still call this place MGM Studios, you're going Tower of Terror. And the theming is incredible. One of the best queues Disney's ever built. Thrilling, fun, spooky, great attraction. But then you've also got Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which is one of the most technologically advanced rides Disney's ever built. I don't think you have to be a Star Wars fan to appreciate this ride, but it certainly helps if you are. The show scenes, the scale, the multiple different ride vehicles, the music, everything about this ride is perfection. And I'm not just talking about Poe Dameron. Now, it is incredibly popular. It's a fancy ride. It usually is quite a long line. It's really not busy here at all today, and it's still got a 55-minute wait. It also has single rider, but I really don't recommend it unless you've been on it before, because you cut off the first parts of the experience. You cut off the Rey room and the transport ship, and it drops you into the Stormtrooper room, and I really feel like you miss out on a lot of the storytelling and 2 very cool sequences of this ride. It's actually pretty hard to call this a ride. It is definitely more of a full 20+ minute experience. So you know what? Let's get to the Resistance base and see what our mission is. Oh wait, before we do, fun fact about this ride is that if you go through the standby queue, you can see in one of the cargo holds a Flexi Poly Bacta suit, which is the kind of watery looking suit that Finn is wearing in The Last Jedi.
Welcome to the cause. May the Force be with us.
Commander Poe Dameron and a squadron of X-Wings.
I hear you're a fine-looking group of recruits. Well, no time to waste.
I have been tasked with getting you to Bakara. Raise the shields.
Company, first order TIE fighters. We're up.
Current 2 more incoming. Blue 5 taking evasive action.
Where's TIE fighters coming from?
Don't worry, I'll come back for you. Stay strong.
You have what I want. You know the location of the secret base, and I will take it from me.
Those droids are programmed to return you to Batuu. Hurry and don't get caught. Lieutenant Beck will guide you.
Hey, you're not authorized. Wait, those are the prisoners.
2 droids anyway.
Shields. I see no evidence.
Now! Sound the alarm.
I can think of no better way to end this 4-park day with one of the best rides Disney's ever built. I also really love that attraction. I would say it's my favorite in this park. It is also close for me with Tower of Terror just because I love that queue and I have a lot of nostalgia for Tower of Terror. But Rise of the Resistance really is something special. I absolutely love that ride. And it makes me teary every time because the music, it's just so many cool moments. The lightsaber in the ceiling, the reveal into the room with the big AT-ATs, the drop surprise, like when Lieutenant Beck comes back around at the, it is a fantastic ride, and I cannot recommend it enough when you're here. Again, even if you do not know anything about Star Wars, it's a must-do. Well, that is a wrap on our challenge. 4 parks, 8 rides. Let me know, like I said, down in the comments, what is your #1 most loved and #1 most hated ride across Walt Disney World, across all 4 parks? I'd love to see some responses in the comments. Thank you to the ManFam members who voted on our poll. Again, that was part of Patreon. I hate like pitching Patreon because it feels salesy, and you definitely don't have to join Patreon to be part of the ManFam. We appreciate you watching and engaging on any level, but you know, whenever we do these kind of videos, people ask how can they vote in the next one. Also, people don't always know we have a lot of fun stuff on there, like a whole behind the scenes podcast, behind the scenes video content. So if you want more of us yapping and more ManFam, you can check that out. Otherwise, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social media, come hang out with the ManFam in Discord. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it's been magical. I need a snack.